San Francisco police are assuring the public that robots armed with explosives would only be used sparingly. But those against it raised ethical concerns and cited the impact on people of color.
You got to recognize they will be disproportionately used against black and brown communities.
For the last decade, the militarization of police has increasingly been a concern. In 2014, heavy weaponry in Ferguson, Missouri sparked a backlash after Michael Brown's fatal police shooting. Armed robots being controlled by police. What you guys just imagine that scenario. This is in San Francisco, and they had this idea to arm their robots to come after people because, we can't risk our lives anymore. That was the first reason why you shoot first and ask questions later, or just don't ask any questions, just cover up everything that happened. So do this new law that requires California police forces to host public forums before they adopt these types of things like military weaponry on robots. They had to debate this whole idea. Let's watch a little bit of that debate.
Of course, I don't want any officer to lose their life, but I think that this is the scenarios that we're using are hypotheticals to bring up fear.
These are not autonomous robots. No one's tapping in. These are trained police officers that would utilize a robot.
Only the chief, assistant chief of operations, or deputy chief of special operations may authorize the use of robots as a deadly force option.
Before we go into those details about what they're doing and how they want to do it, just in that video there, the folks that are advocating for this, it's not gonna be autonomous. It's not like these robots are gonna go off on their own and go to shooting up people and dropping, which we'll get to, bombs on folks. It's gonna be controlled by a trained police officer. Those same trained police officers who've shot people. I'm not saying it specifically for San Francisco police departments, I'm talking on a general basis. So if we're gonna start arming robots to shoot at people or drop bombs on them, it's done by police officers. So don't you guys feel better? You're still missing the entire point. It's the police officers that many people don't trust because of their actions, their biases, and what they assume is happening, and how quick they are on that same trigger that they can trigger from a robot and have no more worry about, is he shooting at me? Oh, there's a target. It's like a video game at that point. Here's more. The original version of the draft didn't include any language surrounding robots' use of deadly force until Aaron Peskin, the dean of the city's board of supervisors, initially added that robots shall not be used as a use of force against any person. You gotta point that out. However, the San Francisco Police Department returned the draft with a red line crossing out his addition, replacing it with the line that it gives robots the authority to kill suspects. Suspects, not convicted people, not someone that's on death row, which we should repeal as well, but just kill suspects. Do you know what a suspect is? Someone in the streets that they think did something. So again, I brought up the bombs. That's something that they brought up, and maybe it could change. Here's some details on that. The police department said that it had owned and used robots for tasks such as and serving warrants for 11 years, and the department did not have pre-armed robots and had no plans to arm robots with guns. The proposed policy does not lay out specifics for how the weapons can and cannot be equipped, leaving open the option to arm them. It's like they think people aren't paying any attention to what's going on. The one example that they like to use though was from 2016. Remember that the man barricaded himself in the parking garage in Dallas. He was on that shooting spree, killing folks. And they had to send robots in because he was firing, and he was not worried about anything else but firing back as he was cornered. Here's some details about that. This is what they're going off of and why they need to do this. The policies in cities like San Francisco could clear the way for an expanded use of robots as weapons. One of the first such incidents happened in 2016 when Dallas police deployed one against a suspect who had gunned down 5 police officers. In a statement today, San Francisco police acknowledged that it does not have a specific plan in place on when to use armed robots. No specific plan in place, Dan. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I can't wait till in the hood when they saying, they deploying iRobot on you. You better come outside, boy, before they come out with iRobot. I call it ROBO-COP. I don't know. Like, I love how San Francisco police, but a lot of other police departments. The points all you just made, Jayar, are very valid. That not only is it the cops that would be training or be around this hypothetical very real robot, so to speak, that has the now authority to kill suspects, which has the word suspect in it, which means not guilty yet, or like hasn't been proven to be guilty yet. But they will spend the money on that robot, which is okay, maybe trained by AI, which we know all these technologies have biases against people of color. They will spend all the money on that, but they won't spend the money on social services or things that would actually help clean up cities like San Francisco. Like, we talk about the issues that are in cities like San Francisco. My car got broken into in San Francisco this year. I will talk to you about it, right? But the things that are needed for these situations are not, like, the thing that would have stopped my car getting broken into is not a ROBO-COP down the street. It's not a ROB from Super Smash Brothers coming down to save the rescue, right? Like, this is way out of control. We need to step back and think, what are cops meant to be doing? What are cops meant to be solving? And what kind of situations are we in where we have gunmen running towards trying to shoot people in the first place? These are larger questions that I don't think cops want to answer. So let's just throw in a Sentry from Team Fortress and solve the day. I don't know. It's a fun thing.
Dan, I think sometimes as libs or leftists, whatever people like to call it, all these divisions between leftists, libs, Dems, progressives, all that. Many times we miss addressing the point of disagreement between folks. Because you brought up your car got broken into in San Francisco. And I could imagine many folks who are like, look at this lefty. He wants to defund the police. He thinks police are bad people, but look at him now, he wants the cops to show up when his car gets broken into. This is the point of disagreement. It's not that, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. This is my point at least. It's not that many of us are like, hey, I can't believe that the cops are doing this, and that. And as soon as something happens to us, we're like, oh yeah, I want the cops. The problem is when crime happens, we're looking to get to the root of the problem and not just the point of consistent punishment and chasing down and killing and murdering. Because then what you've found yourself in this system is of thinking everyone on the streets is a criminal. We saw the words suspects that they're looking to kill. And that everyone that's there is looking to hurt, kill, steal, rob, commit some crimes, and we have to kill them because they're coming for us. Why do some people commit crimes? Why is crime increasing in certain cities, in certain times, in certain areas? Why does it happen? If you ask yourself why, you can get to the reason why, and maybe you can eliminate why those folks find themselves in the position where they feel they need to. Instead, we've got other folks who think, good guy, bad guy. Bad guy decides to go rob him because he's a bad guy. And it's like this cartoonish approach to the way life is. And we need law enforcement to go kill them or at least arrest them on this high rate. Then it'll end. That's been our process since the beginning. Has it worked yet? It hasn't worked yet.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say here, is that like in that situation, like all I could do was file a police report so that my insurance would reimburse me sooner. The police didn't get me my stuff back. They wouldn't have protected anything, right? Like these things just sort of happen, like sad day, I got a new laptop out of it, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, like we need to, if we're at the point where I guess we need to start just arming robots and like controlling those out to deal with regular everyday citizens, or citizens in like these really intense situations. I think we need to start asking larger questions about our society, because most societies don't have gun robots they need to deploy on their own citizens. And
you start thinking that's a normal thing to think about, because our approach has been, it's overblown every time. It's like, well, this whole thing of extreme enforcement hasn't worked. Let's do some more extreme enforcement. Let's extreme the extreme of the enforcement. It ain't working, bro. It's not working. It's making it worse. 100%.